Let's start over. Welcome, everybody. My name is David. This guy's name is Dave, and we have no idea how to use our microphones. It is December, isn't it?
It is. It's been a long year.
Anyway, so I was cracking a lot of funny jokes, and I'm not sure now I can repeat them. But anyway, this is our last webinar of the year. Next week, I'm bringing some awesome present. Yeah. If our students might remember the Santa GPT post from about a month ago, why this lovely gentleman who got a haircut so drastic that he got a lot less hair and a lot more cut. Did it work the second time?
Yeah, it did.
Well, okay. So you're gonna be off skiing next week, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's wild. So sometimes we need to use ChatGPT to hallucinate some hair on top of Dave when we start missing his hair. But I'm starting to like it. At first, I said I didn't like it very much, but now I'm getting used to it.
Yeah,
it's like my first impression was Professor Xavier, but you can walk, so that's a plus.
Yeah,
you can even run. You can lift.
Oh yeah, and I can ski.
And you can ski. Okay, so while we're waiting for some people to join us, let us know if now you can hear us. Because the first time we forgot to turn on the microphone. Let us know if you can hear us, and let us know where you're from.
Yes, Gary, the avatar also got a haircut. I just recorded it today. So soon it's going to be live as well. It's going to be exciting to see a lot of bold versions of myself online. So yeah, it's gonna be cool. David, let's not waste one more second, and let's get into teaching people.
Okay, that's why we're here.
Exactly.
Okay, so
I'm loading up the slides.
Oh, look at that. I've been watching Harry Potter with my wife lately, and
oh no, I have hair here.
Oh, you have hair there.
Okay, now I need to change.
Getorido haircato. That was more Japanese than Harry Potter, but the Japanese version of Harry Potter. Anyway, okay. So for those of you who are watching us for the first time, welcome to our weekly ChatGPT webinar. My name is David, and this lovely gentleman next to me is Dave. Now we have a really easy way to distinguish who is who. Yes, hair, no glasses. No hair, yes, glasses. Anyway, but to give you some cause for confusion, I'm going to show you a picture where both of us have hair. So Dave has an education background. He's our resident professor. I am actually starting to call him provost here in the company, and he said he didn't like it very much. But he is the one responsible for teaching everybody. He is the guy with the big brains, and I'm just a nerd who's used to be in tech for more than a decade now. I used to run a machine learning startup in London a couple of years ago. But Dave has built more than 160,000 people community teaching people online, and that's the skill set that we're bringing here as well. So what does that mean? What is here, right? You are all in the Prom Master community. Prom Master is a ChatGPT school we launched this March, and we've had the privilege of teaching over 8,000 people from 47 countries since this March. We have partners as well. It's not just the two of us. Now we have a team, and our partners are researchers, academics who are working in the AI space, have decades of experience in researching AI, deep learning, neural networks, and also helping co-author our courses and our workshops. These guys are Neuron Solutions. And also from February, we are also going to be guest lecturers at Neumann János University, which is in Kecskemét. It's in the countryside in Hungary. We're going to be teaching the first accredited prompt engineering course in Hungary. Now, what you guys are going to learn today, we brought you 4 main topics. First, we're going to give you a brief intro into ChatGPT, and we actually had a student of ours asking, how could they give a brief intro to ChatGPT? And I said, look, just show them this video.
Yeah.
Show them our webinar. This all assumes that you already know what ChatGPT is, though. If you don't, then buckle up, Buttercup, because it's going to be a ride for life. Anyway, the second thing you're going to learn today is how to write one prompt. This is basically prompt engineering. This is the main sort of kickoff of the entire learning journey for you with ChatGPT. Learn how to do one prompt, because when you can write one prompt really well, then you can move on to designing entire conversations with ChatGPT. That's going to be important, but no spoilers yet. And then at the end, we're also going to teach you how to solve the single biggest issue with large language models, not just ChatGPT, and that is hallucination. So these are the 4 steps. And if I'm not mistaken, the cue is still mine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Let's go into this. Oh, housekeeping note. This is fully recorded, and you will be able to watch back the recording on this event. And we're also going to upload this to free trainings as well. So if this is not your first time, you might be familiar with this. There was this recent study at Harvard, Wharton, and MIT where they basically came to the conclusion that any knowledge-based job can be done about 40% better and 30% faster with ChatGPT. I'm simplifying a lot, but if you join us in our school, you're going to know what means what. Basically, this is the key takeaway. If at the Christmas dinner table, someone asks you, hey, why should I use ChatGPT? Tell them this. Tell them that without using ChatGPT currently, a regular workday would take you about 8 hours, and doing the same thing but using ChatGPT can take you about 6 hours. So what are you going to do with the extra 2 hours? It's like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
2 hours is enough to get a workout in.
And eat.
Yeah.
I think I'm hungry. Anyway, so saving 2 hours a day, that's about, if you translate that into like actual work days, you're going to be saving over 60 work days a year.
Yeah.
Right. 60 work days a year. That's a long time. So basically what we teach is we help you save time and work better, or as we like to say, think faster. Shouldn't this be like a this is not the part when it has the funky animations?
No, those are just like spilled in like all over the place.
Okay. I'm really excited. He showed me this presentation and it's awesome. Anyway, so how can you think faster with ChatGPT? Well, according to this research, I read this blog post from Ethan Mollick, who is an assistant professor at Wharton, and he was one of the people on this research team. He says that basically there are 2 ways of using ChatGPT. You're either a centaur or you're a cyborg. And I'm having trouble not smiling at this, because I promise this was not invented by me. This is kind of the weird humor that I usually have, and I'm absolutely amazed by this. But yes, if you are using ChatGPT, you're either a centaur or a cyborg. Why? Because if you're a centaur, then, the distinguishing feature of centaurs is that there's a clear distinction between human and non-human. So as a centaur, you will be writing a huge prompt and then sending that all to ChatGPT, and then you get a huge response back. A clear line of division between human and non-human, in this case, a large language model. Now, in the other use case, cyborgs melt, like, I don't know, it's like, what's the verb here? It's like they fuse with the machine.
Yeah, that's
right. They fuse with the machine. You're the same entity. It's impossible for you to tell where the human ends and where the machine starts, because you're having an ongoing conversation. Instead of just putting all your chips on red at the casino table and saying, okay, I'm writing one prompt, that's it, let's see how it goes.
Good luck, everybody.
Good luck, everybody. I'm out. Bye. Instead of doing that, what you're actually doing is you're having a conversation with ChatGPT. Hey, write that. Okay, now change this. Now change that. There's an ongoing conversation. And that's really important distinction, because that unlocks superior use long term. Ethan Malik, as I mentioned, he says that the AI, as a chatbot, the AI is really built for exactly this sort of use, where you speak with the AI as if it's another person. And here's the thing, you need to be very good at having that conversation. And in order for you to think faster, you need to be a very good, very effective communicator. In fact, the people participating in this Harvard, Wharton, MIT study, they were management consultants who are already very adept at communication. So what we really teach is how to communicate effectively with a large language model, how to design a conversation with ChatGPT from beginning to end. When you know you have to write an email, write a website copy, write a contract template, when you need to process some data and create a report or summarize a report, you already probably are doing all those tasks. But when you want to do that, how do you go into talking to ChatGPT to get the right high quality output out of the model? You already have the input and the output criteria, so you have everything you need in order to design the conversation, and that goes beyond prompt engineering. So, as we said, writing one prompt effectively is about prompt engineering, but writing an entire conversation with ChatGPT is about conversation design. And this is what we teach our students. So, okay, here we go. So we get the animation. So basically what happens is that when someone starts learning with us, and I can see a couple of our students here with us, like Shay is very active. Hey, Shay. Just let them know what it's like going through these steps, because you start with learning prompt engineering. Okay, are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, let's go. Let's learn prompt engineering. Da 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 da. Boom. Good. Now, once you learn prompt engineering and you're really good at the foundations and the basics, then move on to learning conversation design and design entire conversations to get the right high quality output. And then, hey, what's going on?
So this is the slide where I'm like, okay, now let's get into prompt engineering.
Oh, so we don't know conversation design yet.
We don't.
Okay. So can you teach us prompt engineering quickly so we can move on to the next step?
Yeah, that's what I'm here for. Yes. So now, basically, what we brought for this webinar is to give you like 3 beginner steps to be able to use ChatGPT for work really well. And it is a little bit of it is a high ambition to try to teach you everything we know in a 60-minute webinar, but we'll try our best to give you a lot of knowledge that you can use right now. So what we prepared is basically a prompt engineering crash course. And I'm going to give myself 10 to 15 minutes to explain to you everything you need to know to begin with prompt engineering and using ChatGPT. So what average users do when they use ChatGPT is they just write a task as a prompt. So for example, they say, write a Facebook ad about X product, and they say a few things about a product, and then they get some generic sounding answer. What ChatGPT Pros do, on the other hand, is they use a lot of different elements of a prompt. So there are 6 of them, as you can see on the slide, and their prompts look a little more complex. So for example, they would say, act as an advertising copywriter who is witty, concise, and his primary objective is to make ads that people click on. Write a Facebook ad copy and describe the visual the product to promote is. You put in a description there, and you can insert examples, restrictions, and so on if relevant. So writing a better prompt, writing a more detailed prompt is going to help you a lot with getting a better quality output from ChatGPT and other large and small language models as well. So for this webinar, I brought 5 of our best tips for better prompting, and feel free to take screenshots of the slides. I also put in a few examples that you can copy and use in your own prompts. But as we said, the recording is also going to be available on this exact same link in the Circle community, so you can always come back to it and recap if I'm talking too fast or you lost us somewhere. So. And this is the power of online education. Like you can just always come back to if you fall behind somewhere, or you get like a phone call. I'm like, you can take that and then just come back later.
Okay, sorry. Hey,
Sa-
Santa.
Santa is calling you.
Sorry, I'm on a webinar.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back.
So let's teach Santa then. One of the things he needs to do is to give ChatGPT a persona, and this tells how ChatGPT should behave. The template for this is to act as a certain title who has a certain tone of voice. You define those and the primary objective. This is what we call the persona. For example, you could say act as an advertising copywriter. In that case, that's the persona who is witty, concise, and this primary objective is to make ads that people click on. The second tip that we have is to define the tone of voice and writing style that you want ChatGPT to sound like. This is especially important if you are writing something a little bit more creative. So you're not just creating internal documentations, but maybe you're using it to write blog posts, to create online marketing content, landing pages, emails, and so on. So this way you can make it sound a lot more like you, especially if you know how you already sound like. So try to define with adjectives on how you sound like. For example, are you bold, controversial, or aggressive, or are you more like calm, empathetic, and short-spoken? There are always going to be a lot of adjectives. So if you have a difficult time on figuring out how you really sound like, there's a great reverse prompting exercise that I brought for you. So you can make ChatGPT sound like you with the following prompt. You can send like, I'm going to send you 3 different texts from 3 different authors. I'd like you to act as a copywriter coach and help me surface what makes the first author's text unique from the other 2 in all areas of writing, included but not limited to tone of voice, vocabulary, style, logic, and use of rhetorical tools. And then you put in text 1, you put in your text there, something that you've written before, and it's something that you want ChatGPT to analyze and be able to write copy or any kind of text that sounds like that. And then you put in 2 other pieces of text from 2 other authors. And when you do this, ChatGPT is going to give a detailed analysis on how the first text sounds like and how you can describe it with words. And then you can just use it in your next prompt. Like, here is how you should sound like. And then you put in the paragraph that ChatGPT gave you before. The next tip number 3, is to provide examples. And this can be, for example, best performing previous content that you created, or content from your competitors that are performing well, or anything that really inspires you and you want it to be in the output from ChatGPT. This really helps the AI model to understand what you're asking for. And you don't always have to use this, but you should use them if you want to modify how ChatGPT says things. So, for example, you can put in a prompt as quote unquote, here is how Gen Z talks about ChatGPT. ChatGPT is legit lit. Try ChatGPT, kind of sus, but low-key a vibe when you need quick answers. Bruh, ChatGPT is the GOAT. GOAT is short for greatest of all time.
This is a vibe, bro.
NGL, not gonna lie, it's a massive W. If you use it, you won't take any L's, no cap. And if you put this into ChatGPT, you will get a response something like this, which is like, sure, here's a Facebook ad tailored for Generation Z, incorporating the provided examples and inviting them to a free ChatGPT webinar, just like the one you're attending right now. Yo, Gen Z, get ready to level up your game. Or are you ready to level up your game? This Wednesday, dive into the world of ChatGPT, where it's all about being legit lit. Ever thought AI was sus? ChatGPT will change your mind. It's the quick answer, champ, you didn't know you needed. Join our free webinar and discover why everyone's saying, bruh, ChatGPT is the GOAT. Learn how it can turn every challenge into a massive W. No L's, no cap. Don't miss out. This Wednesday could be a start of something big. So this can really help. Using these examples can really help to fine-tune the responses. And sometimes it's a lot easier to do than actually training your own fine-tuned model to replicate and mimic how you sound. So if you have a specific target audience that uses a specific kind of words and specific kind of messaging, AI can really help you to personalize the messages. And this is where it has a lot of power. Tip number 4 is to define expected behavior and constraints. This sets the boundaries for the response. It tells the model how to behave. So for example, in a prompt, you can say, in your marketing strategy, keep in mind our limited resources, like we only have a 5-people team. So that way it's going to give you, or you are, maybe you are doing things alone and on yourself, then you can tell it like, hey, I'm a solopreneur, and I want to make sure that I can execute these things. And then for tweets, you can say maximum of 280 characters or for a blog, you can give a restriction of like at least 500 words. Now I put the little star or asterisk there because ChatGPT is not really good at counting the characters or words as it is generating them. Afterwards, it can write some code that can actually count it. And it seems like it's getting a lot better at doing the mathematical calculations. But these are not really going to always be clear boundaries for the behavior. So it's better to say long or short response, give me a structured or an unstructured, like, structured like a bullet point list or a numbered list, something like that. Or you can say it should be detailed or surface level. And then tip number 5 is to define what a good response sounds like to you. So this really sets the standard for the response and really helps personalize it. If you don't know what would be a good response, you can ask ChatGPT first to tell you like what makes a privacy statement good. And then it will tell you a good privacy statement is clear, direct, and easy to understand. Keep technical jargon and legal terminology to minimum. And then you can use that in your next prompt, or you can just save it for later and then use it whenever you load up ChatGPT.
Or you can do the exact opposite and ask it to talk at a PhD level who assumes extensive prior knowledge, which is mainly the sort of defining good response part of the prompt that I'm using when I'm doing academic research. It takes some nudging and prompting to get there, but it can get into not just a verbose discussion, but also a very, very scientifically rigorous.
So you can tell it to be like medically accurate, like talk to me like a medical researcher and tell me all the receptors and chemicals that are working on this thing, and it's going to give you really good answers. So it's this way you can write prompts that will help you get better responses. And this was the ChatGPT prompt engineering crash course in 9 minutes and 9 seconds.
Wow.
So I think I kind of nailed the promise here. And we are going to the next step, which is conversation design.
I wanted to push the
button. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
You can push it now.
Nice. So I still have the button, which is just a fancy name for a keyboard, but I only use one button on this keyboard instead.
There you go.
Da 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 da. Perfect. So, thank you, Mr. Talash.
Of course.
Teaching us how to write one prompt. Now,
I want to say, hold on, before you go there, I want to say to people that if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We are constantly seeing the chat on our big TV here. So
there's a big TV and little TV and a tiny TV.
So we see if you tell us something in the chat, if you have questions about a slide or anything, let us know and we'll try our best to respond either in chat. If Dave is talking, I'll go jump in the chat, or we can bring up something on the stage here and answer the question. So
ask questions.
So go ahead, David.
Okay, so now we know how to write one prompt really well.
Right.
And we're going to use that. We keep giving persona, or creating a persona, giving it context. We're going to define the styles, the tone of voice, what the good response is. Awesome. But if you've tried using ChatGPT before, you will notice that just writing the perfect prompt does not yield the perfect result. So there is a discrepancy there, and then you just need to keep sort of nudging the model to get to a perfect production quality result. So how do you do that? Now, we have this little superpower that's called context. Now, the chat in ChatGPT means that you're having a chat with the model, which means that it does remember the context within one conversation. It is dialogical. You need to have a conversation with it. It remembers the context. So when you keep having a conversation, you basically are guiding the model, and it's your job to guide the model. It's not just enough saying, okay, now off you go, chop, chop. and then it starts going in a specific direction.
Yeah, like write me a book.
Yeah, write me a book.
Duh.
Duh. Right? And then it will fight with its own limitation and constraints and everything. And you can write the most convoluted prompt. It still will not be enough. It will still not be able to sort of navigate through the waters. But it will be able to start going. It will get some momentum. But then you will need to keep feeding context to guide the model to the treasure. Now, let's break that down a bit. So let's say that this is the output that you want. But this output is made out of building blocks. Let's see it.
You don't need to like over exaggerate these animations.
But I want
they are
to.
already trash by themselves.
I love them. I love them. Look, I can go back. Reparo.
We don't have time. We don't have time for this, David.
Okay. Anyway. So you have the building blocks of the output, and you need to understand the building blocks of what makes a good output. You need to think before you start chatting with ChatGPT, because let's say you want to write a blog post. First, you have the idea. Then you not need to research the idea. Then you need to find the keywords. Once you got the keywords, you need to start drafting the whole blog post with just bullet points. And once you have the bullet points, then you turn it into a table of contents with headings. And then you start writing the blog post one heading at a time. And once you write it, then you go back and review it and edit it. You rewrite it if needed. And then you start adding extras, again, if needed. And once you're done with that, then you can move on to start writing marketing materials to promote the post on social media. This is really important. This is basically deconstructing the task that you want to do with ChatGPT. ChatGPT is doing the doing for you, but you need to guide it. So whenever you want to do something with ChatGPT, you need to guide it step by step. And that starts with you thinking about what are the steps you need to do with that task, because you need to just break it down into multiple steps. And imagine this, like we looked at writing a blog post and then we broke it down into 9 steps. It's not a very difficult thing. If you're a copywriter, most of these come automatically to you. But actually, it is a conscious effort to do all of these steps. However, it's very important that as you guide ChatGPT through these steps, even if they are not very well thought out, even if you're having a badly designed conversation, your end results from the model will always be higher quality than just one super convoluted mega prompt with a gazillion plus one different parameters.
Yeah, and imagine if you get an error while you have like a big prompt and you just lose it. Like you accidentally refresh the page and then you lose it. I know it happened to us.
No, it's
yeah. Guilty as charged.
Guilty as charged. Yeah. So you need to be very good at just breaking down your task into multiple components and then just write a prompt for each of those subtasks. And that's what's going to end up having a real conversation with ChatGPT that helps you write the blog post, create the report, create the contract, etc. So as you can see, the key thing here to do with conversation design is to reverse engineer your job to what the ingredients are. What are the ingredients of, let's say, putting together a research paper? This is just one way of thinking about this. But when you want to put together a research paper, you want to at first you want to have the theoretical background. Then you want to understand the current state of research. Then you want to state a hypothesis, then create the experiments, and then you present the data. Then you analyze the data, present statistics. Then you need visualizations. And then you need the actual written content that explains all of those things. These are the sort of building blocks to a research paper. These are the ingredients to a good research paper. So these would be 8 different steps you would do with ChatGPT. Now, here are a few beginner conversation design methods. These are what we call in our prompt engineering course prompt engineering strategies. And also some of them, most of them, are also presented as conversation designed patterns to our students. One that is very popular would be chain of thought prompting. Again, conversation. You create a prompt, you get a response, and then building on top of that, you give it some more context, you change your question, you change your prompt a bit, you get some more another response, and then you keep going, and you're guiding ChatGPT through a chain of thought. There are several ways of doing that. Just a couple to give you an idea. You can use ChatGPT as a search tool, right? You can get information from it. You can get information from the training data. You can get information through search, which is now embedded into GPT-4. But if you want to build on previous context, you can take your previous conversations and you can narrow the conversation down. And that would be one specific design pattern for using ChatGPT. You build out a bunch of different ideas, and then you start selecting a few of them, and then you want to evaluate them, and then you select one of them. Or you can do the opposite. You can broaden the conversation. You can be like, okay, I go down into the rabbit hole on one specific topic for my blog post. I write the article, and then I go back and say, okay, now I wrote this one article based on what you have in your context. Now give me 5 different ideas on what other articles I could write. So you're broadening the conversation. Or you can also clarify. You're going through a question answer type of conversation with ChatGPT. You're trying to learn about something, and then it explains to you something that you didn't really catch. So you're like, okay, can you please explain this to me as if I was 5, to make sure that I can really understand the basic concept. These are just really simple ways of how you can use chain of thought prompting. Another one would be nested prompts. When you not only use a chain of thought prompting, but then you just kind of nest the whole conversation into a new conversation, and then you can summarize the entire conversation. You can analyze the conversation. You can identify themes from either from the conversation or previous responses, previous conversations, and you can extract key points. You can also copy and paste transcripts and other documents. You can even upload documents now to GPT-4, and you can manipulate the text somehow. And you're like, okay, so you have the document, you have all that information. Now use all of that for me to summarize. Give me the key ideas. After you summarize it, give me the key ideas in bullet points. And then you can move on to actually broadening the conversation on each of those bullet points. And that's how you can sort of move back and forth between nested prompts and chain of thought prompts, depending on what you want to do. But this is how you can manipulate a large amount of text. This nested prompt logic is exactly the same that we did when we were having a long interview with the media company. They did a recording. It was more than 2 hours long. And we get the transcript. And the reporter asked us to actually prepare sort of a draft for the article. And we used this strategy to extract the key ideas from the transcript and prepare a draft for him. And it took us less than 30 minutes, something like that. And you can create not just a draft, but you can create mind maps, outlines, an entire report, even an FAQ, or you can just go off on a tangent and do like creative stuff. Also, one of my personal favorites would be the split GPT. Which is funny because I just know like James McAvoy from Split.
Looks like me.
Yeah, kind of.
Maybe I am.
Maybe we are. He had like 27 personalities. And they weren't very friendly, so I'm hoping not. You are friendly. Okay, so persona switching is one of my personal favorites. You're like, hey, act as a strategist and ask me questions. and then it asks me questions, and I'm like, okay, now act as the business owner of this company and answer these questions, and then it answers the questions. Okay, now act as the strategist again and ask follow-up questions based on the answers, and then you're just switching between two personas, and then you can introduce a third or a fourth persona, which becomes really interesting and also very complicated. But that's basically the way how you can create incredibly complicated stuff really quickly. You are just basically creating new personas, and you're fostering, facilitating a conversation between of those personas. Now, let's see what else we have here. There is also another approach to conversation design, which is sort of deconstructing a big task. And that, if you remember, in the beginning, I had the animation of like writing the blog post and doing 9 different tasks. That's basically the foundations of it. You take a big complex task and then you turn it into multiple simple subtasks, right? And then each of those subtasks would be even then broke down into separate steps that you would prompt for one after the other. And again, you don't need to keep remembering all of those, because it can still remain within the context, especially if you're using GPT-4, which now has an incredibly large context window. So these were the main conversation design methods: chain of thought prompting, nested prompts, persona switching, and breaking down big tasks to small tasks, what I like to call deconstructing problems. And I think if you don't do anything, just follow Dave's recommendations on how to write one prompt, and then use those as guidelines to use these strategies to the next email you need to write, to the next report you need to create. And don't be afraid if ChatGPT does not return the right quality output at first. Keep having a conversation with it, and remember these strategies. You will start seeing an immediate uplift in the value of what you get out of ChatGPT. So this is the conversation design part, and this is obviously a very beginner approach, and we go so much more deeper with our students. But this is where we get to finally get on the next step. Okay, can I do it?
Yeah.
Nice. You did not know that I would be this enthusiastic about these animations, did you?
No, I didn't. I
love
didn't
this.
think that.
I love this. Okay, so now that you know how to write one prompt really well, and then how to guide ChatGPT in the right direction to give you very high quality output, there's still one problem, and that is hallucinations.
Exactly, and that's a big problem.
Very big problem. I just want to say before we move on, Andrej Karpathy, who currently works at OpenAI, used to work at Tesla. He's one of those AI researchers who currently has an open return position to Tesla. He basically, Musk just told him, look, if you want to come back to Tesla, you just come into the office, and from that moment you work at Tesla. It's that simple. He's one of the top 10 AI researchers on the planet right now, and he had this really interesting tweet where he said that AI hallucination is not necessarily a problem. It's a problem when we fact check it, because large language models are basically dreaming machines.
Right.
They are designed to hallucinate, but we accept some of those hallucinations if they happen to be true. So that's
the problem. Yeah.
And how do you make sure that the machine itself is capable of checking whether or not it's true?
Oh, that was his tweet?
No, he went off like for quite a while explaining that the problem is with humans, not with the machine. But
yeah, okay. So
for human use, we do need that.
Yeah,
so
what I can help with is to try to fix the human part now, as I don't have the capabilities to modify ChatGPT's internal workings nor the access. So I'm gonna take over the mic and help you guys a little bit with stopping hallucinations. First, we need to understand what hallucinations are, and a short definition is like where the model generates information that is false but presents them as truth. So it doesn't really tell you all the time that it's like, hey, I don't have access to this information. It's getting better, GPT-4 especially, but GPT 3.5 is just going to ramble on forever without even being able to fact check itself. So there are two main reasons, and there are other few, less important reasons, but two main reasons are data gaps in the training. So ChatGPT was not trained on certain data, especially in languages that are not spoken that as common as English. And then the second one is bad prompts. So for now, we handled the bad prompts part with the prompt engineering crash course and the conversation design, beginner methods on how you can design the entire conversation. So in this part, we're going to show you how you can fix the data gaps. And there are three main things you can do. First, you can just feed the data in the prompt, especially with GPT-4. There is a huge context window, which is like basically more than Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. So you can store a lot of information in the prompt itself with GPT-4 or Claude. GPT 3.5, not so much, but this is one way where you just copy paste what's important to you into the prompt. It's a little extensive in terms of you have to go and find the information first, but then you can just put it into the model. The second is if you let GPT-4 browse the web either by itself with the browse with Bing feature, or if you use a plugin like Keymate AI Search that can help you search the web. So that's another way that you can make sure that it gets information from the internet, and then you have to fact check yourself whether the source information was correct, but it's going to give you the references on where it got the information from, and that way you can go to the website and say, okay, I think this website is legit, this content seems to be good. And the third way is to create something that's called a knowledge base and connect ChatGPT to it. So I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into that. So here's a simplified explanation of a knowledge base. So there is this, and this is just the example of the Pantone color database. Pantone is the world's most famous paint and color library, or like a company who can help you with creating or giving you paints, textile colors, print colors, and so on. So designers around the world are using these Pantone colors. And all of these colors, for the sake of simplicity now, we are going to use the HSB, so hue, saturation, and brightness. Now imagine that Doja Cat wants to paint the town red, and she goes into a paint shop, and she goes like, hey, bitch, I said what I said. I want to paint the town red. But she doesn't really know. She doesn't really know what the exact color should be, but she knows that it has to be Pantone because Pantone is the best. So she goes in, from this picture, I just color picked one of the pixels from the red behind her. And then she goes in and puts this color into the database, and the database is going to throw out the Pantone red 032, which is, if you compare the numbers of the hue, the saturation, and the brightness, they are very, very similar. And this is how we can compare colors to colors with, using a database. This is just a simplified explanation. So how we compare the two colors with a computer that cannot see the colors themselves is we converted both to HSB. So we converted it to numerical variables and stored them, and then we calculate the distance. So the shorter the distance, the closer the match is. And then let's use this analogy for comparing text to text. Again, computers can only count things, so they cannot really make sense of sentences like we do humans. What we need to do first is to vectorize all of these, so to convert them into numbers, like a thousand dimensional. This is not important how it happens. What I want to transfer to you guys is to get the idea, the theory behind it, and then you will be able to use it on your own. So once you have all the information as vectors, then you can start making mathematical calculations between the two. Shorter distance means a better match for like a sentence. So to do this, step one is to create a vector database, and there are a lot of tools that can help you with this. for the sake of the example now, I'm going to use Superpowered AI, one of our partners. So what you do is you have a raw text, and then you just basically upload it to this tool. What it does is it first vectorizes the information, and then it stores it in a vector database. Now, the problem is you have ChatGPT that you can give it a prompt, and then it can give you a response back. But like, how do we connect these two, which would be our step number 2, to connect to the vector database. And these tools can help you to vectorize the prompt itself as well. So convert it to numbers, and then they can put that into the vector database and find the closest neighbors that have, if you subtract the two numbers, they have very little distance to them. And then only the relevant parts or segments get added back to the prompt and sent to ChatGPT, and then the ChatGPT gives back the model response. So using AI tools like the custom GPTs, where you upload your knowledge in a PDF format, or using a tool like Keymate AI or Superpowered AI, you can connect the vector databases to these large language models. And I hope this was clear enough for everyone to kind of like get like an overview. And David, how about we spend a few minutes to do a demo?
Yeah, but before we do that, I just want to highlight RJ Johnson had a really great comment, and I just want to read that out loud, right? Yeah. So RJ says that hallucinations are a big problem in the legal community, and that really resonates with the interview I had with the CEO of Superpowered AI earlier this week, Zach, who says that the bulk of the use cases for Superpowered AI users are legal use cases. Yeah. Most of the use cases are legal based. And so there was this one attorney who was reported to the bar because he cited a case in a motion that doesn't exist. He used ChatGPT to research cases and it made one up. And then Westlaw overcame this with their new AI add-on, Westlaw Precision, by only allowing the LLM to train on its own database. And this is why Keymate and Superpowered are so valuable, because you create a custom knowledge base and instruct the AI to use only that knowledge base. Now, here's the thing. RJ asks if does this make hallucinations impossible? It's not. It doesn't make them impossible, but that's a more advanced topic. But 9 times out of 10, it gets rid of the issue. But for that only 10%, that's what I want to highlight, is that you cannot completely omit human supervision. But if you know that you're using the best approach with a vector database, with retrieval, to actually you add the memory to the large language model, then your supervision, your reviews will take at least by an order of magnitude less time than what it would take you to write those things yourself.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. So think faster.
Think faster. Exactly. So next step would be the demo.
Okay. Give me 1 second to get everything, up to speed.
Should I share my screen, or
no, I'm doing it,
or you're doing it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have 2 chats, right?
Here we go. We have one chat and the Prompt Master Tutor.
And the Prompt Master
So what we're
Tutor.
going to do, what I'm thinking, because our time is short, we only have 10 more minutes of this webinar. I'm going to start writing a prompt to the Prompt Master Tutor, ask it to query the knowledge base, and in the meanwhile, we can demo Athena.
Okay.
So what I'm going to say is really simple, like we always do. What are the 6 key elements of a prompt? And what it's going to do now is it's going to go to its knowledge base and find information from our prompt engineering course that I uploaded as a transcript PDF into this prompt and send it back to us. So while it's doing its thing, David, you have this piano improvement plan. You can use your trackpad if that's turned on, or you can just use my computer.
I'm here. Use this. Yeah. Okay. So here, what is this? So Athena is a custom GPT that I built, and I shared it with our community as well in the custom GPT's library. And Athena basically helps you learn anything. And the way it does, I've written a GPT instruction that is instructed to put you through a guided conversation design pattern at the end of which you actually get a learning plan. So let's say I'm currently trying to become better at the piano. I used to play it a lot, but I'm nowhere near at the level where I want to be. So I'm like, hey, I want to be better at the piano. Okay, now its first thing that it does, as instructed, is try to break it down into knowledge, skill, and wisdom. Try to understand what I'm trying to learn, break them down into multiple learning outcomes. This is the bit that I learned from this guy. And then Athena goes on and asks me questions, feeding itself, requesting context. So I answer by giving context. Yeah, I used to play piano for a few years, yada, yada, yada. Here are a couple songs I can play, what I can do in terms of improvisation, etc. And then it's like, okay, so here is a quick summary of how I would evaluate your ability, your current level, the desired outcomes. How much time can you invest? And then I'm like, okay, I can do an hour a day. Okay, so with an hour a day, let's start with the first month. Here's the first month. Is this the direction you want to go to? And I can already say it gives me recommendations on tools, provides me with a daily routine.
Oh, it's really good.
Yeah, resources, etc. So is it what you're looking for? I'm like, yeah. Okay, as instructed, if I confirm that this is what I want, then it goes into actually building the weekly breakdown of my training plan based on what I provided as context. And here is the actual training plan per week on what I should do. And it goes to be as granular as saying, get comfortable with improvising in C, G, and F major keys, right? And then week 3, improve your ability to read and play simultaneously. And that's incredibly hard. I used to go to music school for 4 years and I never managed to learn that. So here's the thing. And this was a big bit of a tweak for Athena. I said, I don't actually need the 12 month. The 12 month is just to instruct its thinking. But as a student, I don't want to think ahead for 12 weeks. Right? I want to give me tasks for 1 month and then ask me to return and give me more context. So it's like, after the first month, check in with yourself. How do you feel about improvements? Are you ready to move on to the next phase of learning? If you're comfortable with your progress, then we can then plan for month 2, which will build upon these skills further. Here's something of a little hack that I did. ChatGPT does not lose context over time.
Yeah.
So it retains the context within the same chat. So I can go off, keep learning, and come back a month later saying, I'm back after a month. I'm now more comfortable with improvising in CGF majors. I can create simple melodies fluently. I can replicate some chords by ear, and I can read and play beginner level sheet music at first sight. I learned basic versions of 4 pop songs this month. All in all, I think I'm ready to move on to month 2. Good. Here is month 2.
Right.
And then
it just keeps going.
And then it just keeps going. It's basically a tutor now, and that thinks for me. Week 5.
So you could even do it like day by day. Like, hey, this is what I experienced, on the session. This is what I struggled with.
128,000 context is so much that you can even have like 100-day training plan, and it can still guide you day to day.
This is nuts.
It is nuts.
Okay, let's go quickly back to our.
Let's see what happened with the tutor.
So as you can see, it gave us a list of the 6 key elements of a prompt from the course transcript that would, it even referred to the fact as outlined in the prompt engineering course transcript. And it says context or persona, task definition, examples, expected behavior constraints, what is considered good, expected steps towards the goal. And then I could go into the conversation of like, okay, now based on this, help me to correct this prompt. And I put in a prompt and it would say, well, maybe you're missing the expected behavior constraints. Let me do that for you. With time being short, David, how about we go back to our presentation and wrap up this?
Let's go back to the presentation.
Okay, give me 1 second. I like doing this with my mouth, and I know that some people also do this.
I don't know why.
So the demo is over.
The demo is over. Natalia, That's a good question. Probably Athena, probably not, but you can it can probably help you put together a learning plan on how you will be able to learn how to compose music. Once I did that the 12-week plan for becoming better at playing the piano, that's probably the next I'm gonna do.
Right.
Okay, so let's recap. Right, so we started with saying that Harvard, Wharton, MIT scientists said that any knowledge-based job can be done 40% better, 30% faster with ChatGPT. Basically saving 2 hours a day.
Right.
Is this gonna go like
yeah,
that?
it's gonna.
Yes. Okay, so first you learn how to write one prompt.
Yeah, we learned that today. Big prompt engineering crash course by Dave.
That was a vibe. That was a vibe. That was a big W. And then we learned conversation design. That's the big W from me.
Yeah.
And then we just go clean, no acid, no hallucination,
No
anymore.
L's, no
L's,
cap.
no cap and no L's from ChatGPT anymore. So you get to save time, work better, or as we like to say, think faster. Now, here's the thing. If you're not a student of ours yet, if you're a lurker, as we like to call you, it's not like a diminishing bit. We do love all the people who are free members, but I think there's a lot more we can teach you. And without further ado, I want to offer you guys something to join us if you haven't yet. And that can be found on this QR code. So take a snap. That will take you to a landing page that will enable you to sign up. Now, what will you find here is a simple $29 per month subscription to our entire Prompt Master School. Everything we teach, you will get full access to it. You need the HTTPS too.
Gosh dang it.
$29 for a month, and then it's a monthly subscription. And for those who are feeling, very committed and dedicated, we have an even better deal, which is a full lifetime access. And I must say, you get access to both so you can buy both the monthly subscription and the lifetime access on the link that Dave just shared in the chat, or by taking a snap at this QR code on our web or on the presentation. So here's what's going to happen. Today, you're really, really good at doing your job, but taking our simple 3-step process within our school, you're going to be still very good, but then faster, right? And our simple 3-step process does not take any previous experience with ChatGPT, any previous experience with AI. You don't need to have any tech skills. Even my grandmother could learn this. Actually, I'm probably going to invite her to the platform. Yeah, okay. Let me just take a note of it.
I will remind you. I will
Invite
remind
grandma to. Okay. Literally anybody could learn this. Our youngest student is 12 years old. Our oldest student is 67. Right? That's I think that speaks for itself. And here's what you're going to see. First, we're going to teach you how to write one prompt really well. What you got today is just the tip of the iceberg. It's the icing on the cake, the cherry on top. But in that training, within 4 hours, we're going to get you to 500 hours worth of ChatGPT use. And you're going to get a certificate. You're going to become a certified prompt engineer who can work 30% faster than anybody who does not know how to use ChatGPT. These are pre-recorded videos within the Prompt Master community, and our exam has been taken by hundreds of people already, and now we're a recognized school on LinkedIn, and we're also going to teach this as an accredited course at a university from February. Basically, if you want to get promoted next quarter, learn how to do your job with ChatGPT, and the best way to do that is learn it here. But that's the first step only. The second step is to become a prompt master. How do you do that? Well, we do a weekly workshop every single Thursday We can teach you advanced ChatGPT use cases, very specific examples, very advanced strategies. We can teach you how to automate your work with GPT-based bots without coding. How can you become a ChatGPT consultant? Some of our students are actually doing that. We do a lot of consulting on the side as well, and we just share everything, all the contract templates, the deliverables, the presentations, the sales pitches, everything. If you want to become a ChatGPT consultant, all you got to do is just sign up here, and you're going to learn everything on how to set up your own consulting business within a month. And most importantly, if you sign up for the lifetime deal for $297, you're going to get lifetime access to the entire community. If you sign up for the monthly plan, then obviously each month it's renewing your subscription. Now, here is one reason why I would recommend that you sign up for the lifetime deal instead of the monthly subscription. And that would be that for lifetime members, we also provide an extra 45-minute long private consultation. I think that's currently priced at around $350 that you get for free. So just by doing it, just for getting this consultation, it's already worth the price. It's a really simple logic of how we do these presentations. We get on the call, I share my screen, and you tell me what to do with ChatGPT or other AI tools. Some people ask about, business use cases, solving very specific problems, very specific questions, even integrating different AI tools into their business workflows. It's entirely up to you. And we can even, play around and create make.com automations with you, creating training plans for you during that course. And altogether, these 3 steps are what we call the ChatGPT Accelerator Bundle that you can find on prommaster.com/lifetime, where you can either subscribe for $29 a month, or if you want to commit, you can get literally the best deal we are ever going to be able to offer you, and that is to become a lifetime member for $297. And you're also going to get a really, really nice sort of fancy lifetime member tag, and we're going to give you back the crown that you've dropped. So all you got to do is just take a snap at the QR code or visit the website and join us as a paid student and join the ranks of Scott L. Smith, who learned how to give personalized recommendations for thousands of travelers in less than an hour. I really enjoyed that conversation. That was also what happened on a consulting call. Or Dr. Alan Dutra, who created an automated bot that transcribes audio files from Dropbox folders without even writing a single line of code. And I can tell you, Dr. Dutra is a machine. He keeps building stuff on make.com and just sharing everything with the community for free. So if you want to get your hands on Dr. Dutra's make.com bots, just sign up for to be a member with us, and you're going to get full access to everything. Or Shay, I'm not sure if Shay is still with us, but on this webinar, Shay, if you're still here, just say hi. We had a consulting session with Shay where she learned how to analyze hundreds of research papers that are relevant to her company, and we did all of that in less than 20 minutes. But she is not alone. As you guys have seen, there are over 2,600 people in this community, and there are over 300 people joining us live every single week as either subscribers or lifetime members, who are the creme de la creme, the top of the top, the elite of the elite, the masters of the masters. And they are the most awesome community I've ever seen, and crazy learners. And one thing that I want to share with you guys as a very recent experience, which was shared by one of our lifetime members very recently. I need to find it. It was shared by John, who is one of our students.
I think it was in the What Did You GPT?
Was it in the What Did You GPT today?
If you're thinking what I'm thinking, that Whisper experiments?
Yeah, but then he created another one. And what I really loved about this, so John shared a post on the What Did You GPT Today section, which is where everyone in the community is there. If you haven't seen it, it's in the public area, and you guys are going to see everything everybody does. But what also happened is that John also sent a message to our community and said, well, my original post is in the public What Did You GPT forum, but I'm moving my solution here for members only. And then he actually shared a Google Colab notebook link to a piece of code that he wrote with ChatGPT that runs insanely fast whisper to transcribe audio using the OpenAI API. And what I loved about this is that he ended his message saying, please don't be fooled by believing in that I understand all this.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the most important part. Anywhere else, you're going to go out and start learning all the important and very, good foundational theoretical stuff. With us, you're going to deep dive, and we're going to show you how deep this rabbit hole really is. And you're going to be building very sophisticated applications in a week. So that's sort of the uniqueness of our offer. And I'm really, really excited to have you guys join us as our students, because our job is to teach the next generation of prompt masters. I wanted to say that so bad.
Yeah, that's a nice ending.
So thank you so much. And I'm 8 minutes above the time limit.
That's all right. I hope everybody enjoyed us going a little bit over time. And thanks a lot, everybody, for being here. As our resident teacher, it is really hard for me to be able to teach people, so many people in a community, and they just asking questions from each other and then helping each other, which is like the best way to learn, is to teach someone else. So in the community, you can also teach others, and you can also network with people, other AI enthusiasts who are like, oh my God, this ChatGPT is amazing. So I'm very warmly inviting everyone here to join us, either a monthly membership or for a lifetime deal. And thanks everybody for being here.
Thank you. And next week, I'm going to be back with Santa GPTs while this lovely gentleman is off in the mountains.
Yeah, I'm going to go skiing. How? Tell us a little bit about how you expect the next week with the Santa GPTs.
Okay. So we put together, I shared a post, I think mid-November, asking people, Santa GPTs coming to town. What do you want us to build? And then we got loads and loads of requests. Build a make.com bot. Build a custom GPT for me. Build this, build that. And I figured that, next week we don't have this kind of vibe happening because you're not going to be here.
Yeah.
And originally we wanted to do the OpenAI API stuff, but that feels a bit sort of over the top for our members just a few days before Christmas. So I want to kind of end the year on a lighter note. So I figured that I'm going to try to come in every day for at least half an hour and just build stuff. Literally just open up our community, and it's like, oh, someone asked to build this. Let's build it. And I'm going to stream the whole thing and build it with you and for you, and share the chat, share the code, share everything with you. If I fail public.
Nice. Okay. So we are inviting everybody to attend those sessions. I'm sure it's going to be
keep learning, guys.
An amazing experience. And I really love how David is thinking about programming. You taught me a lot of things about writing and debugging code. And basically, I got it down to like what I learned now is like I can set up a Python environment, and then I can just throw the code back and forth into ChatGPT.
Yeah, you don't even need to read it.
And I don't even need to read it. So
here is a confession. I have no idea how to write Python. Like I could not really write Python off the top of my head.
You don't even need to anymore.
I can understand it, but it's like, I did a final exam at high school in French. I used to be somewhat conversational in French, and I can read French newspapers. I understand it, but I couldn't say a word. And that's the same with me for Python, because now we have ChatGPT. We can build stuff, even though I can only read Python.
Oh, I have an idea about this, or based on this.
Okay.
So
write Python code in French.
So no. Something that's been bugging my mind recently is
let's debug it.
A lot of people on the internet or in books are saying that you have to be an expert at one thing to be able to sell your services, to get a high salary and succeed in life and so on. But with AI, it's not necessarily that. And it seems like generalists are going to be able to do just as good of a job, because now what you need to understand is not the exact Python code, but you need to be able to at least read it. You need to know how to write like a pseudocode. Like, if this happens, then do this, else if do this.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thinking. And then this is the same in terms of like design. If you want to use AI for design, you still need to have at least the eye of discerning a good design from a bad one. And then you can fix it. If you are good at understanding copywriting, and seeing why a certain copy is good or bad, then you'll be able to do that video. You don't need to become a master copywriter in order to produce copy that is effective. So I think there's going to be a transformation in everybody having to learn a lot of different skills, but just on the surface, like get an understanding of like engineering, how houses are built.
Yeah.
But then you don't need to be able to do all the complex mathematical explanations, because AI will be able to do that for you. But everybody will have a lot better understanding of a lot of other things that, maybe they're curious about, but they don't have the time or energy to learn now, because they have to be specialists and they have to, take care of their family and so on. But this way, with AI, you will be able to, get a broad sense of a lot of things, be able to judge them as like, this is good, this is bad, based on the criteria that I learned. And you don't need to become a master typographer in order to say, what is a good or bad typography and so on. So this is going to be amazing in AI. It's something that just came to my mind based on you saying you don't even know how to write Python code, only read it and only know the thinking behind it. And that's more than enough now. So everybody can skill up, watch YouTube videos, and then just do everything with AI.
And that's crazy. That's crazy. Well, watch YouTube videos and buy a membership to ProMaster.
Yeah, think faster with us.
Think faster, ProMaster. Okay.
All right. Well, that's enough for today, I think.
Yeah, I think it's enough for today.
I hope everybody found it super useful, and we'll see you guys. I will see you tomorrow on the workshop with Roxy, where we are going to talk about text to image. So
that's going to be awesome.
Text prompting to generate images. And then Roxy is going to teach us how to fix the messed up typography in those AI generated images, which I'm really curious about because it really bothers me. So really big shout out to Roxy for being our guest teacher. And that's it, everybody. Thanks a lot, and see you next time. Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.